Epic views like that. Until around the age of 24, I'm 27 now, I've always thought that taking photos and videos of moments, for the most part, was incredibly irritating. For some reason, I always felt that there was this curated feeling to it. It felt fake. It felt like an untrue representation of what that moment really was. Also, the fact that my mother made us stand there for the same 57 photos did not help. But now that I have 3 years of YouTube videos to look back upon, I don't see YouTube videos. I see vivid memories of my closest friends helping me out film my videos, of epic trips with those same friends and family, and of me seeing myself struggle to make something out of nothing, and of all the phases of life that I was in during those times. And one of the most beautiful things about all of this is that my future self and the family that I create with the woman who's going to be the rest of my life will get to look back and see the evolution. That makes my heart warm. My only issue here now is that I wish I had started filming way before 24, because before then, I have close to nothing. Now, to be clear, I still hate taking photos, and I still don't take them in this context, but I do think that video here has power. So in this video that I'm making right now, I'm hoping to inspire you, especially if you were anything like me before, to record more moments, to document the journeys that you go on through video. And outside of just telling you why, I'll prove why and show you too. Let's go. So in the name of giving you a proof of concept, I planned a spontaneous 2-day trip to the northern end of Minnesota. I asked my friend Manoj if he wanted to come along, shoot some cool videos together, and create some epic memories, to which he immediately said, let's do it. Our first destination was a town called Duluth, located about 3 hours away. And after filling those hours with either naps or good music, we finally arrived.
Do I have to pick a right?
Located on the western tip of Lake Superior, the city of Duluth, despite having an industrial element to it, is known for its natural beauty and its unique geographical features. The city's hillside has breathtaking panoramic views of the lake, along with the iconic aerial lift bridge, which symbolizes Duluth's maritime heritage. Now, while Manoj and I weren't able to experience Duluth during its best season, through its amazing architecture and welcoming atmosphere, it was easy to see why the city was loved both by the locals and visitors alike.
Oh, it's not as like fucking...
After taking in the city for a little bit and grabbing something to eat, we decided to spend the last few hours of the day by the shore. And as luck would have it, the clouds parted just enough to give us a gorgeous evening view. Manoj pulled out his new camera as he just recently started developing his filmmaking skills, and I, as a man who's only known the warmth of sunny San Diego, found myself mesmerized by the frozen lake.
His glass.
But as we got epic shot after epic shot until the sun went down, I was reminded that it's moments like these that set up the premise for stories to be told that we will talk about for the rest of our lives. Because it's in these little spontaneous moments where the transformation of who you were to who you're going to be begins. And similarly, Duluth was only the beginning. Everyone is the main character of their own life, and that is an extremely powerful thought, especially once it's internalized, because it's essentially telling you how to choose what stories you want your life to experience. Now, that can be another whole video, but in my observation, I found that how much of a main character you actually are in your own life can vary, and it's based upon how much you're willing to experience, both in suffering and in success. Outside of that, the catch is you have to continually decide. You have to take the initiative to take on the stories that will unfold, whether that's taking a spontaneous trip like mine, running a marathon, or even just dragging the dreams you have into reality, whatever they may be. You just have to put in the effort, which can either be a huge burden or very freeing. I find it very freeing, but unfortunately it seems for most of us it's a burden. And it makes sense too, because the weight of having to choose and then put in the effort to experience the stories you want to tell, to chase the dreams that you want to hunt, is heavy. And I actually get that. I feel that too sometimes. But Andrew Tate says something that I think gives a lot of perspective here. For 80% of the movie, the superhero is suffering. But if you live your life that way, then you have the chance to grow into something fantastic. And outside of the sentiment itself, the keyword here is movie. In other words, documenting your life, because it'll be those videos that you look back on of you overcoming something that will push the current version of you to keep going. You are going to be constantly reminded not only of all the things that you've already conquered, but also of the hero's journey that you are trailblazing with each consecutive story. And the more stories that you have to look back on, the more apparent the direction of your hero's journey will be. So film it, because the hero that is you in the future is going to be infinitely grateful to the amateur that is you right now for those reminders along the way. As I said, Duluth was only the beginning. The real reason we drove up here was for the North Shore Scenic Drive, as I enjoy driving, running up and down Highway 61 while stopping at a few of its well-known spots along the way sounded incredible. The first stop that we made was a lookout on a jetty. This was my first experience of truly seeing the vastness of Lake Superior. It was also amazing how calm the water was.
Does it feel cold or what?
It's really cool.
Dude, your hand is like literally red right now.
Oh god, yeah, dude.
Holy
right.
shit, dude, it's so red.
We met a few locals here who were extremely friendly that gave us more than a few insider secrets on the scenic drive ahead. So now we had much more to potentially do on our list. But I find that it's these random interactions that create more for the experiences to come, because now you have knowledge that you definitely want to put into action should you get the chance. And that is an easy catalyst for making life happen.
One story. Always for the story. Alright, ready?
Yep.
Shall we?
One rule of life that I think everyone should live by is that you should always have a bias towards action, meaning do way more of whatever thing rather than thinking of whatever thing. And documenting your life, particularly with video, will give you so much more of an incentive to live exactly that way. The reason being because whatever the thing is and capturing it on video makes it somewhat of an obligation to do the thing until completion, or at least as much of the thing as you can. Because when you start recording, it creates this open loop in your mind that your brain wants to close. And you can use that to your advantage, whether that's to actually take the initiative to go on a spontaneous trip or to even motivate yourself into tackling a difficult challenge. Either way, it's going to be a win for you, because you'll not only have memories, but also evidence for yourself that you will make life happen, that you will do what you want rather than letting them be the vanishing thoughts in your mind. Kind of like this, actually. Around mile 46 is the famous Split Rock Lighthouse. This lighthouse stands at about 54 feet tall and was built as a response to a tragic storm in 1905 known as the Mataafa Storm, which resulted in numerous shipwrecks. Ever since then, it served as a vital navigational aid for ships traveling on Lake Superior until it was decommissioned in 1969. After spending some time admiring the geography at a cove near the lighthouse, we finally made our way up to the lighthouse just to find out that it had been closed off for a while.
No?
And I know that you know that we both know that I was not going to let that stop us.
It says no trespassing, but is it trespassing if we never get caught?
And after about 10 seconds of telling Manoj that we're doing this, we're doing exactly what we came here for, we made our way into the secluded area with the lighthouse.
Adventure doesn't wait for those who stay behind the gates.
So for a few moments, we enjoyed the epic cliffside view the lighthouse had to offer, along with the thrill of doing what we came here to do despite the obstacles. And then we made our way back to the car for the next location. Our next location was the Black Sand Beach. Apparently, it's the only one along this drive. But for being the only one, it was kind of lackluster.
I'm not gonna lie, this Black Sand Beach is not as exciting as I thought it would be.
Though, of course, we found ways to entertain ourselves.
Do you see that? Oh, fuck. That's crazy. Oh, I just broke it. Damn it. Okay, watch this one more time. This is crazy. It's gonna glide. It's gonna glide across the water. Ready? And okay, that one broke. Never mind. Let's fuck it. Whatever. That was cool.
And that's kind of like the cool thing about all of this. It wasn't the whole spontaneity of the trip. It was the fact that it was just two guys who knew how to have fun together. And that was kind of all that mattered. I'm sure you've probably heard of this African proverb that's on the screen right now, I genuinely dislike and hate it, because at first it puts you in this or mentality rather than an and mentality. You can do both. You can go both fast and far if you are able to recognize those who are able to keep up to speed with you and align with you in the current season of your life. And it's moments with these people in particular that you should undoubtedly document, because these people are going to be a massive part of your life's journey. And also just because life's a lot more fun when they're in it with you, through the suffering, the lows and the pains, and also the prosperity, the highs and the thrills. I find that a lot of the gratefulness I have for the people in my life comes back to me often, because I have constant reminders that these people loved me dearly through all the moments that we captured together, not to mention all the context behind those videos themselves. And it doesn't matter if that relationship ended or phased out for whatever reason, they were there, up to speed and in alignment with the Anuj of that era. They will always have a piece of my heart, and I know you have people like that too. So every so often, spend some time to film those meaningful instances with them, because you don't know when or why it might end, but if it does, at least you'll have the visual evidence to honor those moments. And I think that's something truly worth cherishing. The last location, and the one I had been waiting this whole trip for, Palisade Head. These towering cliffs, composed of ancient volcanic rocks, rise approximately 300 feet above the lake, providing a breathtaking view of the surrounding landscapes. Outside of my love for heights, these cliffs felt like home, as they reminded me of cliffsides I used to spend most of my time on back in San Diego. And of course, as it seems to be a theme throughout this whole damn trip, the path to the cliffs had been closed off.
Normally we just drive up to Palisade Head, but as you can see behind me, there's a gate that's blocking the road.
So despite the exhaustion that had been building all day from visiting multiple locations, along with the freezing and only getting colder air outside, we hiked our way up towards the cliffs. But once we got up there, Manoj and I felt our excitement electrify us. The adrenaline of reaching our final destination had us feeling as if we had conquered the world, or at least the lake that felt like an ocean in front of us. And as the clouds had done the day before in Duluth, they once again parted, giving us a beautiful evening worth remembering. Though this time, I had brought my FPV.
And we're going.
As the sun continued to go down, Manoj and I spent the last bit of this mesmerizing evening speaking of our visions for the next 3 to 5 years, of the deeper confidence gained from being able to take a spontaneous trip whenever we want, and of doing all the things we set out to do this trip, no matter the circumstances. But the sentiment we both resonated with the most is that we had done it all together, and that without the other, for at least this specific season of our lives, we wouldn't have been able to go as far as we have, nor as fast as we have. And that sentiment of deep brotherhood as a force of life is one worth living for.
It's not about what you do, but rather who you do it with. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of that.
I find that more often than not, we forget to appreciate the value and the depth of who we are in the present because we have forgotten about the things that we've been through or have overcome in the past. And the thing about documenting your life is that you can constantly use it as evidence to give reason as to why you should be grateful about who you are right now. You will always be reminded that you are a story worth sharing, whether you know it or not. So once again, I say to you, though this time with the whole of my spontaneous trip to Duluth as a proof of concept, document your life. You will only thank yourself for it. Subscribe, go get my free ebook if you want to learn to make YouTube videos, and as always, let's skyrocket.